Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and tonight we're going to be playing an old-timey classic. We're going to be playing Sid Meier's Gettysburg, the Firaxis 1997 classic war game that, in many people's opinion, including my own, still remains one of the top war games of all time. Is it designed or developed or whatever by one of the greatest strategy game developers ever, Sid Meier's. This game really revolutionized sort of Civil War gaming, in my opinion. It's one of my sort of formative games that I played when I was growing up. And in fact, I didn't actually have a computer that was able to run the game when it came out. I saw it on the shelf at a store. I thought it looked amazing. I bought it, and then I ended up having to play it at friends' houses to be able to play it because I didn't have a computer capable of running it. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and play the campaign tonight. So the game lets you play as either the Union or the Confederacy in a host of scenarios. There was, at one time, a thriving and wonderful online community, and it was also one of the first games that I played a lot of online, as well as a dynamic campaign, which allows you to fight the entire battle with linked scenarios that have carryover results. You know, if you win one battle that historically was not won, you could theoretically see a different outcome as the Battle of Gettysburg went on. And that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be fighting the whole battle here. We're going to be playing as the Union, and we're going to be playing against sort of moderately hard difficulty. We're going to be playing the second highest difficulty, which is the James Longstreet difficulty. So you have 4 difficulty options when you're playing as the Union. Harry Heath is the easiest, A.P. Hill's the second easiest, General James Longstreet is the third most difficult, and Robert E. Lee is the most difficult. Similarly, if you flip it, if we go back just to, doesn't even let me go back. If we go back as the Confederacy, you can see here, when the interesting thing is, so T.A. Raleigh's the easiest for the Confederacy, Howard is the second easiest, or sort of moderate, for the Union, Doubleday's the third most difficult, and Winfield Scott Hancock is the most difficult. It's telling, isn't it, about General Meade's reputation, that he's not even on the list of difficulty. The most difficult is the Second Corps commander at Gettysburg, not General Meade. Meade isn't even on the list, so that's I guess it is what it is, right? All right, so let's go ahead and jump in here. We're going to play as the Union. We're going to play with James Longstreet difficulty. For the personality type, we're going to have a prudent general who is flexible. That gives you the characteristic of Robert E. Lee. You could actually go with prudent indirect, which would be James Longstreet. Prudent and indirect would be Richard Ewell. If you had prudent and indirect on aggressive personality, then you would have General Stonewall Jackson. So again, you can see all of these different types of personalities that the AI can have that you fight against. In this case, we're going to be fighting prudent, flexible, which is Robert E. Lee, Longstreet difficulty, historical, I guess, unit options or whatnot. So that's what we're going to do. And we'll get to witness the opening video. This game, what really makes it special, frankly, is the care and attention that they have to these things like intro videos, map diagrams, etc. But I'll step back and let you listen.
At this point, and I'm afraid it will be commenced in the morning before the infantry can get up.
Sir, the enemy will not make so rapid an advance. I can take care of all that will attack my front during the next 24 hours.
No, you won't. They will attack you in the morning, and they will come booming with skirmishers 3 deep. You will have to fight like the devil to hold your own until supports arrive. The enemy must know the importance of this position and will strain every nerve to secure it. And if we are able to hold it, we will do well.
Oh man, the pixelation on these videos.
And hold out as long as you can.
It is, to be fair, it is 1997 video, so it's definitely not HD.
Good morning, John.
General, I'm sure glad to see you. We've been skirmishing all morning.
What's the situation?
The Rebs are here in force, sir. Gamble's brigade was pushed from Hare Ridge to McPherson's Ridge. They can't hold out much longer. We'll lose the high ground. Where's that infantry?
Look there, coming up the Emmitsburg Road. That's the 1st Division, the Black Hat Boys.
Thank God.
The Rebs are forming for another assault. That's Harry Heath, isn't it? He'll think he's up against two very tired cavalry brigades. Instead, he'll be hitting fresh infantry. Poor Harry. Good job, John.
Thanks, General.
So that's the little interchange,
You must
actually.
hold this location at the end of the battle. This is your best brigade. There'll be some more infantry coming up.
So let's go ahead and pause real quick. That is one of the things that makes this game special, in my opinion, is those little intro videos, the little diagrams of the map that sort of explain the strategic situation ahead of each scenario. This game benefited from a true love. It's just, you could tell there was a lot of love and care put into this game. And I think that's one of the things that really sets it apart. Not that other Civil War games don't have love and care put into them, but just the fact that, the production value on this game is so damn good that I really think it stands out as something special. And that was always one of my favorite things. Less so the videos, which especially today you can see are horribly grainy and pixelated. More so the map and the explanations. The interesting thing is the campaign game, which here it starts out here with the Cutler's Brigade of Infantry coming up to McPherson's Hill, is that it avoids basically the whole cavalry action. You've got that little video that talks to you about the cavalry needing to hold off the Confederates. And there is a individual scenario that lets you play as Gamble and General Buford over on Hare's Ridge over here earlier in the day. But by the time the campaign actually starts, the cavalry's made its stand for the most part, and now they're just waiting for the infantry brigade of Cutler coming up here. And here you can see General Reynolds, the 1st Corps commander, as well. Now, one thing I will call out is I can't really scroll. I've turned scrolling off because this is a really old game, and I'm playing it on Windows 7, and scrolling, it just swings you across the map like that. So I have to kind of right-click to move across the map. That does make map movement a little bit more kludgy, but rather that than just a horribly disjointed scrolling experience. So that's what we're going to do. We've gone ahead and paused the game. Let's go ahead and speed this up here to slow speed, which is pretty darn slow. We're going to bring Cutler up here. We're going to have him move in maneuver column, which will keep his troops moving in column formation, which is sort of the marching formation, which allows them to move the most quick, or the quickest. They do have roads in this game, but it doesn't really seem to impact anything. There's no command like in Scourge of War to follow the roads. So in my experience, you're best off keeping your troops in column formation as long as possible so that they can move quickly, and then you move them into line at the last second. If I move them into line right now, they'll start forming line formation way before they get to their objective, and obviously we don't want that. You can see here we've got Gamble's Cavalry Brigade here formed up. We're actually going to go ahead and attach the whole brigade. We're going to go ahead and move them out here into line formation, into battle line formation. We're going to move them at the double quick because, actually, let's move them like that. Let's move them here. And we'll move it double. We can have them mount up on their horses. And, again, difficulty, or the speed is super slow right now, so go ahead, guys, move over here. All right, so move him in to position here in a battle line. Try and extend him a little bit further south into the woods. Now, when you do move it double quick, you do exhaust, tire your troops out. So that, actually, I don't want to move you guys on double. So that can be a challenge or an issue. Let's not move double quick, because that'll actually cause them to rout sooner. So one of the neat things this game has is this sort of morale bar down here. As this red fills up this bar, troops will rout when they get all the way completely red. They can be routed by things like combat, can cause them to rout. Additionally, they can just be exhausted. If you have too much double quicking, they get tired, they rout more easily. If they're under artillery fire, if they're under infantry fire, all those types of things can cause them to rout. So I'm shifting Gamble's troops south into the southern woods here, and hopefully they'll be able to kind of hold the line here. They're moving incredibly slowly, especially with these Confederate troops coming up on them. Let's not have them march here. Let's have the 8th Illinois stay. Move them into position here. So we're going to have a little bit of a gap in our line. That's fine. And then we're going to have Cutler come up here with his exceptionally good troops. I think, was Cutler the Iron Brigade of the East? I know, obviously, the Meredith's brigade with the Wisconsin and Indiana and Michigan regiments was the Iron Brigade, but there was an Iron Brigade of the East, and I can't remember if it was Cutler's brigade or not. They were mostly New Yorkers. Cutler was a fantastic commander, should have actually been the commander of the Iron Brigade, but due to some politicking by Solomon Meredith, sort of intrigues under Joe Hooker, Cutler was bypassed, and he took a different brigade, and then you can see here, these guys are getting beat up pretty quick. This unit's already at... They haven't even suffered any... Cavalry, not the best at stand-up fighting. Let's get these guys off the front line a little bit. They're the target of pretty much all the artillery here. You can see this 12th Illinois Cavalry is way up there in terms of their morale loss already. So Cutler's troops are coming up. We're moving them slowly, so we're moving them in regular marching form or speed to prevent them from getting too exhausted. We've got one battery of artillery under General Hall, or not General, under Hall, the battery commander, 6 rifled guns, 117 men, and then we've got several cavalry regiments here in position. One of them is now engaged with the 7th Tennessee, and let's go ahead and speed things up a little bit. So we're at slow speed. We'll go ahead and move up to normal speed and see all these different guys engaged. The artillery is still firing away in the 12th Illinois. So these other infantry or these other cavalry units here, these almost 1,000 cavalry here between the 8th Illinois and 6th New York are engaged here. We're going to go ahead and move Cutler into position here. We're actually going to put him right behind Gamble. I think Gamble will probably retreat into that position here. So Gamble's acting as kind of the stop gap, if you will, or the speed bump. These rebel troops. The 8th is probably going to be pushed back here. Meredith's brigade's coming up for the Iron Brigade. We're going to go ahead and move him into position in McPherson's Woods to the south of Cutler's troops. So that's the famous Iron Brigade coming up here. General Gamble, a competent brigade commander. That little hurrah noise means we just routed a Confederate regiment. You can see a regiment falling back here. You will get notifications up top when your troops rout or get you get reinforcements and things like that. You will hear various noise cues for different types of activities. So when you're the Union and you hear a hurrah, that means an enemy regiment was routed. When you're the Confederates and you hear a rebel yell, that means a Union regiment was routed. So Gamble's boys are doing a good job of holding the line. General Wadsworth is arriving. I don't know why we call a division commander reinforcements, but it is, I guess. So Wadsworth is a competent division commander. Different quality commanders, I think, have different impacts on how well they can rally troops and things like that. So, like, Reynolds is a superb corps commander. The other thing is here with these morale bars here you see, you get a certain number of morale bars for the quality of your troops. So the 84th New York under Cutler, for example, is a veteran unit, so you get these 4 squares here. You then get a square for the fact that they've got troops on the right flank and left flank, so there's support bonuses here. Then they get the fact that their commander is within his command radius, and then they get another square because they're within the command radius of the corps commander or their sort of senior commander. So you get all these different types of perks and things like that for different levels of support. You can see here actually the 12th New York or 12th Illinois, which had been sort of pushed back, is actually making a stand in these woods. The 8th New York is sort of up in front of the whole line, and actually the 3rd Indiana Cavalry is also back this way. So Meredith is moving into position. I may actually shift some of. We're actually going to shift. Let's move 2 of Cutler's regiments north to protect the flank. Confederates usually try and go around your right to get up above you in this open ground. And then we're going to go ahead and put Meredith into line here in the woods in the south. Now, you just heard the reporting general, which means another enemy unit, another brigade is arriving on the field. They'll probably attack to the north, like I said, so that's why we're shifting Cutler's troops north. We'll go ahead and move them in column formation, sort of refusing our line. And then we're going to move Meredith into position here to the south. And the woods also give them a defensive bonus. 8th New York holding in strong there. They're losing some casualties, but they're doing what they need to do. They're slowing them down. Hall's battery of artillery, I think we're going to go ahead and have them fall back here before the infantry goes. You can see the 8th New York just routed. And pull Gamble back. We'll have him shift to rally these troops. You can order him to rally. When you order your commander to rally, what that does mean is the troops don't get the support bonus. So if he's really close to the troops, he won't get the support bonus. But then he can rally these regiments which have routed. 3rd Indiana still sort of hanging out there in the south. Meanwhile, you can see here, Cutler is now engaged. Go ahead and move these men into line formation. We'll go ahead and reattach them. When you give them independent orders, they detach from the brigade. Got batteries of artillery coming up. We're going to add them to our right flank. We'll add 1 battery to the center on McPherson's Hill. See, it's worth 5 victory points. The enemy is trying to go around our flank to the north. Reynolds is providing his command bonus, I think, to all these guys. 8th New York probably won't hold out too much longer. So we're going to move this artillery battery into its place so that if it does break, it'll be right there to support. The rifled guns will be on the right. Actually, let's move them over here. Then they can fire into the flank of the advancing rebels. Go ahead and zoom out and see the whole picture. Meredith's brigade's probably not going to do much there. So let's move one of his regiments north. The 7th Wisconsin will move north. It doesn't look like the 6th Wisconsin's needed here either. That 3rd Indiana Cavalry just pushed back, I think it's from Breckenridge's brigade, just pushed back the troops to its front using the defensive cover very effectively. So we're going to move 2 of Meredith's brigades forward to act as kind of a reserve. I need to unlimber these guns. You can see here these guys are rallying steadily, so their red icon is moving down. The 8th Illinois Cavalry was just pushed back. Move these guys north. Alright, so 6th and 7th Wisconsin are going to move more quickly now. See, 2 of Cutler's brigades or regiments have been pushed back. We'll go ahead and form these guys into line. They're very good troops. And we've got this artillery firing into their flank, so that should help. 6th Wisconsin's come up. Stevens' battery is getting pushed back, or it's getting shot to pieces, so we'll have him fall back. Hopefully he can... Oh, shit. He's running. Line and halt. Damn it. I was trying to pull him back, but he routed. There's an enemy regiment in there really close. Alright, 7th Wisconsin's falling back. Not 7th Wisconsin, 76th New York is falling back. You can see here our position is unraveling somewhat steadily. We still have a lot of time left in this scenario. Advancing another brigade to our center. This is the timer over here on the right, shows you how much time's left in this individual scenario. I don't think we have any reinforcements coming. 8th Illinois was just routed. These guys are blocked. So we're actually going to have the 6th Wisconsin charge these guys. They're blocked right now, which means they can't fire. Or they were blocked because they had a unit in front of them. We're actually going to go ahead and move these guys forward in melee. See if we can push back this rebel brigade. In the lower level difficulties, charging can be a really effective way to drive enemy troops back and defeat them. As you move up the difficulty levels, the effectiveness of melee is decreased a bit. It can still be used tactically in important positions, but you have to be more careful because you take a lot of damage when you're charging forward and you're not shooting at the enemy. Another enemy officer apparently has arrived. It looks like another brigade is coming down the Cashtown Pike. Assuming maybe this is Pender's division coming online. Not sure. So you can see here, we're firing into this brigade's flank. 84th New York is taking a lot of damage fire from multiple units. These little red directional arrows indicate incoming fire. 84th New York is blocking the 95th New York's field of fire. 7th New York, however, is firing into this North Carolina unit's flank. Let's actually charge these Confederates here. They're gonna turn to face the 6th Wisconsin, but we're gonna go ahead and charge these guys. We'll move the 76th New York forward. The enemy's getting very close to this victory point perspective. You did hear them say there's a half an hour left in the scenario. That's obviously a half an hour of sort of game time, not real time. But if the enemy does get close to one of these objectives and it sort of shifts over into neutral or into Confederate control, then what will happen is you'll get an extension. It works very similar in that way to the Ultimate General Gettysburg game, which has a lot of inspiration drawn from this game. Ultimate General Gettysburg, which came out, I think, in 2014, the first game by Game Lab Studios, seems to be very heavily spiritually derived, even the way the campaign works, to this game. So far, so good. The 6th Wisconsin's exposed a little bit there. They're getting hit pretty hard here from multiple artillery batteries. But I think we've done enough to hang on. I think. Let's pull Wadsworth back and have him rally. We'll leave Reynolds up here to provide the morale bonus. Some of these troops have sort of regained some of their confidence. Most of the Iron Brigade hasn't even been engaged, which is a little bit of a loss. I mean, these guys are crack troops. This brigade was absolutely broken. Gettysburg. Just sheer casualties, like 60 and 70% casualties in individual regiments. The 6th Wisconsin's probably suffering that right about now. There you can see their crack troops. They're down to under 300 men. They were just driven back. They didn't rout, but they did retreat because that little red icon there got a little bit too far forward. By the way, I also do want to report that we did see at least one enemy regiment was routed by this artillery battery of Coopers firing into the flank. These guys are still rallying steadily, but they're not ready to fight yet, as they say. So, we'll see if the enemy makes a charge in. The timer is counting down. I think we'll get a 15-minute alert. We got a 30-minute alert, but I assume we'll get a 15-minute. 3rd Indiana Cavalry really doing a good job down there in the flank. There's the 15-minute alert. Here's a whole fresh enemy brigade that's moving around here. I don't know if they'll be able to get brought into position in time. Another enemy regiment routed there. Also, you can see, obviously, the dead bodies are represented on the field here. This is obviously not a 1-to-1 ratio. You can see here there's like 7 sprites for 244 men. I think, or maybe it's 6. I think for every 40 men, you've got 1 sprite on the screen. I think that's how it works. These guys seem to be marching back and forth, don't seem to be ready to get into position. 3rd Indiana might get broken right here, but they've done their job. And this battle looks like it's in good shape here. 2nd Wisconsin will arrest any advance over here. 6th Wisconsin was just routed. But again, I think it might have been routed from artillery. Just a culmination of all the damage they took, plus the artillery that was firing at them. Because there's no I mean, we pushed back their whole right flank attack. These guys are finally coming in on the center. Alright, so 8th New York Cavalry rallied. We're going to move them into the center right on top of McPherson's Hill. 434 trained men. Confidently riding their horses back into the front lines. You don't get a lot of information about how individual brigades are doing or individual regiments are doing in the current fight. It doesn't give me like a kill counter or anything like that, but it will give me sort of an effectiveness readout at the end of this battle. Okay. So they're moving forward. I probably could play this a little bit more quickly now at this point, but they're going to try and charge us, I guess. We're down under 5 minutes here. Oh no, we're going to get more time. They approached the hill. So, this brigade is oh god, they just routed us. Center's breaking a bit. More than a bit, good lord. This whole fresh brigade came in the last minute, literally seconds before this battle was over. And they just crushed our center and are driving us back. I don't even think there's anything I can do about it. We're just gonna roll up our whole line. Oh shit, no, don't charge that way. Damn it! I don't have any reserves. Literally, last second, Pettigrew's brigade comes in here and just rolls our line up. Fuck. Well, this battle went to hell. I thought I was doing well. These guys are all shot to pieces. There's really nothing I can do. They're all exhausted. Maybe we could advance a few of these guys, but we just don't have enough troops. I'm not sure where we're at casualty-wise. If we go and take a look at reports, you can see we've inflicted almost double. Well, the cavalry is the kicker here. They've lost 1,700 men. We've lost 1,000 points worth of cavalry. A cavalry casualty is worth 2 points. Infantry 1, artillery 3. So from a casualty perspective, the Confederates are winning, and they're also winning because they've taken the hill. So this will probably be a major victory for the Confederates, I'm guessing. Just because of the way the scoring works. We just routed one unit. This artillery up here is doing a good job. I don't think there's any way, though, that we reapproach the hill. By the way, officers can also be wounded, just for your awareness. God, these guys are just getting... I mean, the artillery down their flank really does help. Artillery can be pretty damn good in this game. We just don't have time. It's about to end. Well... So the rebels have lost more total men, but they still win. Now, fortunately, I guess it's only a marginal victory. They lost almost 2,000 casualties. We lost about 1,600, but again, cavalry is 2 to 1, so 500 casualties equals 1,000 points. So you can see there in this battle, the Confederate scores 2,800, the Union scores 1,900. That equals a marginal Confederate victory, which has a sort of rollover effect into the following battles here. So first contact, McPherson's Hill's the scenario, begins at 11 a.m. July 1st, ends at 11:30 to 12 on July 1st. So we had that extra extra 15 minutes here because they approached the objective there at the last minute. So we lose McPherson's Ridge in a minor defeat. You can see here the most effective unit was the Confederate 26th Regiment under Pettigrew. We can click on it here and it shows us. We can see the hardest fighting unit was the 24th Michigan Regiment under Meredith, the Iron Brigade. And the most effective brigade is Meredith's Brigade, here the Iron Brigade. We can watch a replay. We're not going to do that. I don't think we can actually see detailed casualty information like you can in Ultimate General. But that's the battle. You could play it again, but we're going to go ahead and move to the next scenario in the campaign. So we'll go ahead and begin that. I will say, at the very least, we've inflicted nearly 2,000 casualties on the Confederate Army. And again, I believe all of these casualties carry over battle to battle. So at least we bloodied the Confederates a bit so that they won't be in as good of a shape as this fighting goes on, although they're going to be getting steady reinforcements all day, so we'll see how that plays. With that being said, let's go ahead and wrap up this video. That'll do it for the first battle in the Battle of Gettysburg in Sid Meier's Gettysburg. We fought the whole battle last night, actually, and we're going to fight the whole battle again tonight as the Confederacy, so this was taken from a live stream from just yesterday. But if that's something you want to tune in for or want to see more of, we will be fighting the Confederacy tonight on my Twitch channel. It's linked in the description. However, looking at the next part of the Union campaign, we'll do tomorrow. So I'll post the second battle, the attack on Seminary Ridge, tomorrow on the YouTube channel. And until then, guys, I hope you're enjoying the beginning of this brand new series. But until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.